Thank you. Thanks for being here. Nice long day. You're almost done. I do agree with you, by the way. This is a long look issue. We have a lot of people retiring right now. We do have to make sure that safety net is there. We do have to make sure Medicare is there. We have to make sure Social Security is there. A lot of the issues that we face are budget issues based on population right now. We get that. So this can't be some immediate, we're going to solve it tomorrow. My concern is, and we talked about this some last year, the term primary balance and sustainable debts and deficits gives the clear impression we will never balance, and we never plan to pay down principal, ever. And I understand the process of buying bonds and bills and all that, so I understand it's not like a mortgage. But there is some concern to say, if the whole focus of the administration is, let's try to get us to a spot that we can handle this, we're never planning to ever pay down principal, ever. Is there something inherently bad about balancing the budget?
That's not quite fair, again, because if you get the deficit as we propose to below 2%, 3% of GDP, and you hold it there, then you do start to bring the level of debt down as a share of the economy.
No, real dollars. What I'm talking about, I understand you're mixing the numbers there. You're trying to get below the 3% of GDP. I'm talking about real dollars. Is it wrong to ever actually balance the budget? Should that be a goal?
I don't think I would say. I don't think I would say it's not, maybe not the ultimate way to think about an ultimate objective. I guess I'd say that you got to start. You're starting from somewhere now, and it is hard to imagine governing a country. I mean, just think about World War II, not to mention the average recession.
Right, but I know that's an anomaly, obviously, dealing with World War II and a recession.
Well, you can even say these wars are pretty expensive, too.
I'm asking, even at any point in the future, is it an idea to say this should be our goal as a federal government, to balance our budget?
Well, again, I would not, over the long run, I would not try to talk you out of having an objective to try to get to balance. I wouldn't try and talk you out of that. But it's all in how you get there and, frankly, how much flexibility you leave the chief executive and the Congress to deal with the unanticipated war, recession, or, you know, a huge demographic boom.
Yeah, I understand. So, never mind. Let me ask about a couple of things that just came up there that I'm not sure that we've addressed. One of the things that's come up is about the energy taxes that are in here and the shift on that. Can you be more specific? Because it's fairly vague on it. As far as where that target is $40 billion.
Well, we're pretty specific in the budget in a series of tax reforms to the energy sector, which would reduce and remove a fair amount of expensive subsidies.
So give me a specific tax. There's 8 major, for instance, on the traditional fuels, there's 8 major tax pieces that are there. Which pieces would you eliminate?
I mean, do you want me to read you from the budget right now?
No, just give me the big ones.
Well,
like intangible drilling costs.
I'd have to pull. I think it's better for me to do it in writing for you. I can't pull it out for you right now, but maybe I could explain why we're doing it. If that,
no,
helps.
Let me ask why. And some of it's a concern for me because the president was very clear, and I was glad he was during the State of the Union address, saying we need to be in all the above energy. We need to be domestic energy. He talked about how we have this increase in production, which is a good thing for us as a state. Right. Here's the concern. If we now say, great, that's good, we're getting more production, let's tax that more. Do we get less of that, or do we get more of that as we tax? Good
question and thoughtful way to think about it. We are in the middle of, and we're very confident we're going to see a huge expansion in energy production in this country. Oil and natural gas is going to come for a long period of time. We want to see a substantial expansion of renewables, and we also want to see the country use energy more efficiently for obvious reasons. Now, the effective tax rate paid by the energy industry today is in the high teens.
Right.
It is,
and because of that, we have huge production coming online because it's so capital intensive.
Well, I don't think I agree with that in the economics of it. But again, it's true. We are proposing to increase their effective tax rate so we're closer to the average everybody else pays, because we don't think there's a compelling case for that generous a subsidy to the energy industry. So we're proposing to dial it back. But I don't think there's any risk that is going to get in the way of the huge boom we're in the midst of energy exploration and production in the United States.
But I would disagree with you on that, only because it's incredibly capital intensive, and because most of the production is coming from smaller producers. It's not coming from your larger. I mean, your larger companies like your Exxons and such are different than the bulk of the production that's done nationwide from very small companies, 12 to 40 people in a lot of these companies, and they're this very capital intensive focus. They have to have that, and their model is built on that. If that goes away, then so does that production.
Even with these changes, and we'll be happy to talk more detail about this, even with these changes, the economics of a debt-financed or a mixed debt-equity financed investment in capital-intensive industry will be pretty favorable still in energy, really quite favorable in energy.
Well,
a little less favorable than today. But
I understand that's just a tough gamble when we're finally starting to get on top of that. I yield back.